Yeah, you know how you take a look at a piece of wood and you kind of see what's inside of it. And I saw a really nice utility bowl in this, but the wood, you know, sometimes has a different idea. And it wanted to be a lampshade. So I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a lot of light coming through the bottom of this. And it was funny because I was turning this and just, you know, my bottom bowl gouge was just working great. Everything was wonderful. And all of a sudden it got kind of crunchy. I mean, you know, you could hear it, and you know, you turn it up, you listen and you feel. Anyway, it got kind of crunchy. I thought, uh-oh. Well, I mismeasured the depth, and so, you know, it was in a chuck. I had it in this expanded into this recess, so I couldn't measure it. But anyway, I took it off and saw, you know, I saw the light. And I thought, okay, what do I do with it? And I was just literally, it was out on the burn pile. And my daughter saw it. Oh, what am I going to say? You know. So what I did was, how can I salvage this for her? Resin. So I poured in the bottom. The thing is, I didn't know really what to use. And so what I did was I had some 30 or 5-minute epoxy, you know, the West. So anyway, and then some 60-minute epoxy. So I mixed up the 60-minute epoxy. But what I was really most concerned about was anything like a luminite or something that would come through. There's one spot in here that's really, you can see it. It's really thin. I didn't want it to run through, you know, port in the bottom here and have it run through on the inside. So I went in the house and there's a roll of this press and seal. It's made by Glad. And so I got a hunk of that and I put it on here. It worked perfectly, just perfect. And I used the 60-minute epoxy thinking that, you know, it's not as viscous, so it wouldn't go through here. But I thought like aluminite would, you know, anything real viscous would just pour right through these, you know, this is open grain anyway. But anyway, this epoxy that I used was old and it has kind of a yellow tint to it, which is okay with, you know, this old. So trying to get the bubbles out, I used a heat gun. I'm gonna be real smart. I can get my heat gun out. That damn thing, it singed the ends of it. And I was just very, you know, like this, just a little bit. It was really, so I learned a lot by doing this. First of all, don't turn it so thin in the bottom. Don't try to fill it with, you know, adhesive epoxy. And then don't use a heat gun trying to get all the bubbles out, because then you singe the ends of it and it makes more bubbles. And so I need to have some more tutelage in resin casting. But anyway, that's my story.
David Blair was nice enough to give me some wood that had a bunch of cracks in it, and so I put it on the lathe, and it cracked on me too, and that's why the resin's in here. But it worked out real well. This was the first time I put something in the pressure pot, and it came out real nice. It's a red bud and had a lot of different voids and everything in there. So I've still got a couple pieces left, and I'm going to give it a try.
My name's Kurt Meyer, and they issued the challenge last month. I heard turn something in acrylic. So I've turned a lot of pins in my time with turning, and so I thought, oh, I had the blanks, so I had the kits, so I intended to turn 6, but I only got 3 finished. So but these are 3 that I turned, and I like the way they turned out. And if the club would like them, they can have them for Irish Fest or the website.
course, king bottom. Those are the roof niles, bottom stoppers. These are resins that I cast inside of old pill bottles, which unfortunately nowadays have a lot of laying around. Instant mold. This is resin inside of walnut and something was really cracked up. And to minimize the amount of resin I used inside of this, I just cut up cooler containers and hot melted them on and made pockets. It's perfect for making like little pockets, and then you just pour the resin in, and it holds there. So you minimize the amount of resin you have to use. There you go.
Mine was a pane blank in resin with sweet gum balls embedded in it. I'm not sure I'd try embedding sweet gum balls, even though my neighbor has a big full of them in fall. It makes interesting little starburst patterns, but there's a lot of holes down inside the ball because they're closed cells until you turn them open. There's also a bunch of silver coloring in it. It'll look better once it's polished up, but I plan to make a Christmas ornament out of it.
I have 3 pieces. One of them is kind of like Mike. Ran into a situation where I couldn't turn the inside because I got the bottom too shallow. So I glued on a new spud on the back and poured the resin. Was able to turn the bowl and cut the bottom off. So I hated to lose this wood. So I was able to save that bowl. This is a piece of spalted maple that my neighbor's maple tree went down in a tornado in 2019. And so it had some indentations in it, so I was able to put the resin in it. And, so it made a green and blue, and so it turned out. These all have tongue oil. And this I made, and it's all resin. And it's what it is cherry shavings, and with some layers of Honduran rosewood cast in. It starts at the bottom with red resin, and then goes to the top with red and purple resin. Come on. I packed them in. I put this in a solo cup, and I turned a piece of pine that would fit on the inside and held it from the top. And I packed it all with the shavings, and then poured the resin, put it in the pressure pot, and then turned the wood out of the inside.
So this is the demo piece that I did last month, just the 4. And I originally thought I was going to just do a spear, but it just screamed egg. So I think this is the first egg I've ever turned. And so I think the next one I'm going to do is we'll do a threaded egg for the challenge next month. I think it's next month, right, Anthony? Okay. And then This is just a twice turn bolt. So after it's set for over a year, you throw it back on the lathe and you cut your groove and fill it full of hazelnut shells. And it's got 3 colors, basically the antique bronze, gold, and then white. Turned out really cool.
So these are a couple of, I guess you call them reed pots that could also be candle holders, I suppose. I don't know. I was going for the shape because it was something that I could make out of 2x walnut that I had on hand. And then the circles were my inset tenons. And I just cut a piece of curly maple veneer and drop them in, or actually wood burn my images on them, and then tried to come up with this one here is winter, and this one here, I don't know how well you can see that, but that's fall. It's got some shavings used to make the leaves. On winter I was using, and it didn't show up too good. Next time I'm going to use eggshells, but on the winter scene, I was using the shavings off of some corian that I turned, and that's also what I made the swirls with. This one is summer, this one is spring, and to make the swirls, I took a little shim on one side of my chuck on the inset tenon so that it would kind of off kilter it, and kind of rotated that around and made swirls that didn't go all the way around. It just kind of on one side a little bit more. It was something that I tried before. I think if I do it again, I got better ideas on how I'm going to do the season. So.
Piece of wood and a pile. Just happened to have a tool that was, or a container, a plastic container that fit perfectly at the roundness of this. So it was really easy to do the pour, except I went kind of slow, so I did get some bubbles in there, which fortunately all turned out. So maybe it was put in the pressure pot and forced the epoxy in, I'm not sure. I thought that the 3 colors, the green, the blue, and the gold, came out really nice. And it's swirl, and I pour a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So that was really nice. As far as wood turners go, the top was 2 roofs. So maybe I'll try to figure out how to thread something next time. So, use the same thing for the next challenge.
All right, this is Coruscant white oak, and the top is eggshells, used coffee grounds, and resin. And I got the idea from an article in the AEW magazine about it. There's a gal out of Israel, and she does a lot with eggshells, walnut shells, fern prawns, you name it, she'll put it in resin. And she uses the coffee grounds. So that's how I came up with the coffee grounds. And then this one is pistachio nut shells. And I watched last month's thing, and no, yes, they were. My wife loves them, so I'm going to be back. Don't throw the shells away. This one is in progress, but didn't have, I need to, because it's segmented and all the red is resin. So basically you turn the, glue the bottom on it, waste block. The ring is held with pipe clamps, hose clamps. You glue it in, glue it onto the bottom. Then you take and knock out pieces that you're not going to use. You don't glue those on. Then the next layer, you do the same thing over again until you get up to the 5 layers. And then the top layer is the solid layer. And I didn't have the seal when I poured the epoxy. I didn't have the seal good enough around the so if you notice it bled. And I figured out that in this case, I almost have to rough turn it a little bit and then put sanding sealer or some kind of sealer on the wood to seal the wood up so it doesn't bleed through. So I'm probably going to end up, I'll probably go ahead and dye the rest of it so that it'll hide those that bleed out. And then this is another pin that's got eggshells and coffee grounds.
I used epoxy for a lot of places. I did the coffee grounds one. This is one of my early ones. This is colored epoxy. It's opaque, and I put it in and finished sanding the block. It's become a little proud because the bowl gets hot, and so it pushed the epoxy out. This is the top, and what I did was stirred. This is epoxy. This is the resin, and I put some color in it and stirred it with a toothpick. And mostly it's almost clear, mostly translucent, and then it's got some little bit of swirls of color in it.
Honest comments number that we've got here, Linda.
That's good.
Our winner is 4125.
That's yours, Jack.
4125.
Yeah, Jack won. Congratulations, Jack. Jack, you have won 2 $10 craft supply gifts coupons.
Awesome.
I'll email you the coupon numbers.
Good job, good job. The challenge was wonderful. Thanks for all the participants. Thank you for the pins. We'll take them and get them on that SE site, if not, have them at the Irish Fest. Very proud. So thank you very much. I understand completely. That's where my mentoring thing is going right now. So I understand. Let's get into our show and tell table today, and we'll start. Let's see. Rick, why don't you just start us out here?
This is my second attempt at a Hawaiian calabash. Now, this is a Kansas calabash. Calabash with a K, and it's out of this maple, and you know
we don't have real exotic woods like they do in Hawaii. So that's where, you know, obviously I had to do a resin for it. And good old Costco pistachio nuts, individually filled. So there's 7 different colors of epoxy in this pour. And then I tried to do the round bottom like Emiliano. That's my story,
That's a good one.
and I'm sticking to it.
Kansas Calabash.
I did. Effie really wanted to know this. So basically, you fill the pistachio nuts individually. After that, you hold them carefully up against a disc sander so that you flatten that side. And I'm talking about the cup side. So you can actually hold it, and your fingers are real close, and you're sanding each one of those so you get a flat spot.
Yeah.
Then you have to glue them with epoxy, 5-minute epoxy on there, and then do your mold. And this works for calabash because the calabash has got that curve. It gives you a good visual. So basically, my plastic was from here going up, and you know I had probably about a 1/4 inch at the top that I ended up having to completely turn away. So that's how it works.
Calling the man that never needed another manicure after doing that. Lately I've been loving the Sorby spiraling tool, and this is another one of my things with the lining wax. And just make it, I just had to do a snip and stop it. Nope. Oh yeah, it's hollow, but inside the design right about here is where I separated it. Yeah.
This isn't really done. I brought it in today. I don't like to drive in traffic, so I came early. And I reverse turned all these and sanded the bottoms of them. It's maple, it's burl. The biggest one goes to the original owner of the burl, and the rest of them are mine. And then I've got another set that are natural edge. Like I got 6 slices, 6 bowls out of it, but it's in paper, and I haven't seen it for 6 months, and so I don't know what it's doing. I'm going to put on Mike Mahoney's Danish wood.
Okay. I let Ann use my vacuum chuck, and she really liked it. So she wanted a vacuum chuck. So I made her a vacuum chuck, and she got the pump and everything. But this, okay, with the robust American Beauty, it just has a sliding headstock, and there's, you know, the 3 horsepower motor on things like this big around, you know, this long. So it has to be low. I wanted, first of all, I wanted to get this so that you could put something, you know, hold it on the headstock or get it there, and then be able to actuate it, you know, with reach. And so there's a neat little place where, that's why this is at an angle and it needs to be offset. That's why there's 2 holes here that will, it's not just pivot in the center, there's pivot on the side, so it gets away from the motor, but below the motor, and around to where you can actually see it when you're using it and actuate the, basically this is the on off. So all you need to do is, this goes to the rotary adapter in the headstock, and it's like right here. So this is going to be perfect. And then the hose from the vacuum pump goes right here. So it's going to be real easy to set up and not be in the way. But I think this is going to be pretty cool. I hope she likes it and works well for her. But that's what I've been doing. It's kind of a neat design the way that came up with it. What is a vacuum chuck? Okay, this is so that, for example, the biggest thing is if someone has a natural edge bowl and hasn't got a regular face on it that you can put into like cold jaws or in the button jar, so that you finish the bottom without having the tailstock in the way. Vacuum chuck works perfect for it, and that's why I said this is. You can use it for all kinds of things, but it works real well. I love mine. I use it for all kinds of stuff, and it's amazing how well it holds. I mean, really, you can't knock something off. Really on there good. That you can do a lot of interesting turning with it. But complete access to the bottom and everything. And I haven't had, talking wood, anything come off my vacuum chuck. That I really didn't want to come off my vacuum chuck. So anyway, that's what this is. And I think it'll work out well. So that's it. We got one more.
It's a six-sided ball, and I want to appreciate Jack's technique. He taught us how to use this technique. So it's done with two pieces of wood glued together, and there is a separator between them. And you start by making it round, and then you do it between centers. And Jack taught us how to make 4 sides. I did it with 6-sided, and it's really, I like the way it turns out. It's a spotted maple.
So not every bowl that's ever turned is ready for gallery, right? I thought I'd bring this in to show you. This is like a piece of sycamore that had almost rotted to the point of not even being able to turn it. And with some help from Anthony, he taught me how to get through some of the very soft parts, but literally there's some of it here that I couldn't avoid the pull out. There's some of it that felt like balsa wood. You get all kinds of different hardnesses as you went through it. And when I got done, and besides the fact that it took like a whole can of polyurethane because it had just soaked it up every time I'd spray it. When I got done, I kind of liked the rustic look of it. It's not real shiny. It's not anything. I'm proud of the, way it's shaped, and I've got lines on it, and it's got wormholes and everything, but set that on a old dresser or something, throw some old things in it, and I think that's what it's for. So I think that's the last thing, guys. It ran a little long. My announcements were long. Anthony, you weren't long on your demo. It was my announcements, I'm sure. I'll try to cut those down next month. We had a lot to say this month. Oh. We do have one. So we can bring it up on the video?
Yep.
All right. So and I apologize for anybody that's still with us on the Zoom. we'll work on trying to improve getting your
Then
show and tells and challenges up on the screen. Oh, remind you again, the Irish Festival is just around the corner. Sean is looking for some volunteers, so if anybody hasn't volunteered already, check out the list and see if there's a time that might fit. It's a fun little event. Speaking of which, we're probably going to want to adjust our board meeting next month because that Monday is the 6th. And I think that's actually the holiday, isn't it?
Labor Day,
Labor Day holiday.
I think
So
it is.
we might want to push to Tuesday
Tuesday.
on the next board meeting.
Monday's Labor Day, we'll have the meeting on Tuesday.
Okay,
Just go ahead.
let's call it right now. That's what we're planning.
Okay.
All right, guys, thank you, and enjoy the, oh, gosh, here we go. I'm sorry, I got a little rough.
Okay, this is Anne, and this was a rough turn piece that had voids on both sides. So I decided to find a bowl that was just about the same size, put it in, filled it with resin and put it in a pressure pot. And this is how it came out. And now when I have a little bit of time, I'm going to go back and turn it to finish it.
That all came through, Ann.
What?
That came through, your voice came through loud and clear.
Oh, good. Great. Thanks.
And the bowl's beautiful, thank you.
Thank you.
And we miss you already.
I miss you guys too.
Can you just drive back?
Yeah. With a lot of teak or mesquite wood.
Well, next Saturday or this Saturday, we're going on a mesquite run. So if I am, depending on if I'm here or in Kansas City, I will get some.
I was just kidding, and you
Oh,
just
no,
worry
no.
about yourself. I was sad to see that you weren't there in the board meeting. You must have made a decision fast.
Yeah, well, I'll see what I can do to get you guys some more mesquite.
Good night, Ann.
Talk to y'all later.
Okay,
All right. Good night, everybody, and thanks for the help here.
well, so long, everybody. Meeting's over. Thanks for sticking up. We're gonna try to fix our problems.
You want to take
before
those?
the
I
next
will.
meeting.
I'll get those
Thanks,
to
Ryan.
Wendy.
Okay.
Wendy will control them.
I've got the project on it that's a little better.
Oh, yeah.
See y'all in Irish.